Hey folks, hope you're all doing well, and welcome to episode 16 of Recommend an Album to Review. So quickly, how the show works is every week you recommend an album for me to review. You put it down in the comments, I'll go through them, and I will pick one. And I'm generally doing one a week, and usually the following Thursday it appears at around 6 Eastern. So that's why it's called Recommend an Album to Review. These are albums that you folks recommend, and and it's so far we're in 16 weeks, so it's been going quite well here. The criteria for the records, nothing, 3 hours long, no double albums, studio records, and something I can really digest in about a week's time. So that's really the criteria. So for this week, this was a double strike because this was a band that I'd never heard of, and obviously an album that I'd never heard of. So the band I'm talking about is called Chisel, and the record I'm talking about is Circus Animals. All right, this record came out in '82. And did a little bit of research on the band, not a lot. Found out they're an Australian band, and found out they were one of sort of the big Australian bands. And the music on this was this is straight up rock. This is not hard rock. This is certainly not heavy metal. This is a rock record with some real melodic rock record, actually, with some really great songwriting. Where there's no ear fatigue on this record because every song kind of has its own identity, its own sound, and they're all like separate pieces. It's not just every song sounds the same. There's none of that here. Really good melodies. The vocalist in this band, and I could be wrong as to who sings what, but there is Ian Moss, who here is listed as lead guitar, backing vocals, and lead vocals, and there's also a Jimmy Barnes that's lead and backing vocals. So I'm not sure who the main singer is of the band, but the guy that is singing, most of the singing that I hear, has got a really nice voice. It kind of goes into the rasp thing when he pushes. And when he gets raspy, it kind of sounds a little bit like Dan McCafferty meets John Fogerty, kind of that thing, like a nice sounding raspy voice. And then when he sings a little bit, regular voice, he's just got a really good singing voice. Just a great singer, and he's singing some awesome melodies and just really good stuff. The guitar player, the lead guitar player. Let's see, bass and guitar, lead guitar, I guess it's Ian Moss is listed as lead guitar player. No flashy guitar on this, but very tasty, nice guitar lines played throughout this record. So for me, the standouts for this record were the vocals, the melodies, and the guitar playing is top notch. I always mention the guitar playing because I dig guitar, obviously. So, but anyways, let's go through the tracks one by one. All right, first track on this is "You Got Nothing I Want." This is an absolute banger. Just a great song. Hooks you right from the beginning. I hear a little bit of a Stones feel with some of the guitar work. It's got some keyboards behind it. This is just like a rousing up-tempo rocker that you'd hear a bar band play. I mean, it's just one of those songs that just grabs you instantly. Great way to start the record. You Got Nothing I Want. All right, track number 2. All right, track number 2, Bow River. So this starts off kind of slow, kind of melody, mellow with the piano, and then it kind of builds up. I think this is a different singer than the first track. Again, I don't know who's who, but anyways, a really good building song, really melodic, just a beautiful song, just a really well written song with some catchy moments. So yeah, Bow River, another good track. All right, let's move on to track number 3. All right, track number 3, Forever Now. This has got radio hit written all over it. So it's got kind of it's a little bit, again, a different song. So you got the first song sounds different than the second song, and this is another totally different sounding track. Got kind of a Latin beat to it, and just kind of real mellow with a really nice, tasty guitar line. Kind of is the one of the melodic hooks in it, and just a really catchy track. It switches to kind of a reggae beat on the choruses. Yeah, really good song. I imagine this was a big radio hit back in '82. The song's called Forever Now. All right. Next track is Taipan. This one is real sparse. It's got kind of a tribal, kind of a drum thing. It's just a real sparse song with, yeah, and I don't know. This is for me, one of the weaker tracks on here. It's not a terrible song or anything. It just, those first three are so good, and this one is kind of just a step below that. But, yeah, not a lot going on with this track. Not enough to really, engage, at least not engage me. But there you go, Taipan. All right, next track is Hound Dog. This is a really cool song. It's got sort of a Peter Gunn type of single note, riff to it, but then it just gets kind of not heavy, but just, quicker and more guitar and, just a great rocker, basically. Another fantastic pub rocker. Yeah, Hound Dog's another great track. Another nice up-tempo track, kind of in the same vein as the very first song on the record. So they're back to that sort of thing. All right, the next one is Wild Colonial Boy. I was saying the first track reminded me a bit of the Stones. This one has got kind of a sympathy for the devil kind of shuffle to it. But not a bad song. I mean, I'm not really a big lyric guy, but it sounds like lyrically, it's kind of political. But that aside, not a bad track. It's got some nice guitar lines in it. Again, that voice that, this is another belter. I mean, that McCafferty, John Fogerty raspiness is all through this. So not a bad song, kind of mid-tempo song. Yeah, with kind of a sympathy for the devil kind of drum thing going, but not a bad track. All right, let's go to the next one. All right, next song's No Good For You. This is probably this one and the first cut, and maybe the very last one are my favorites. But this song is just a perfect pop song. It's super well written. The parts flow nicely together. There's a great melody to it. There's a hooky guitar part. There's the hooky vocal. Yeah, this is, if not my favorite, top 2-3 favorites on this record. No Good For You is fantastic. Great song, just a nice pop song. All right, then we got Numbers Fall. This is another kind of sparse tune with sort of the tribal drums, kind of, not identical, but similar in the style to Taipan. Again, this one kind of doesn't have as much going on as the other songs. It's not quite, for me, not quite at the level of the other tracks. Not a bad track, but yeah, just not as good as some of the others. I'm talking about Numbers Fall. All right, then we go When the War Is Over. This is kind of kind of a piano ballad, maybe a little, not quite mid-tempo, but kind of more of a mellow track anyway. But really nice, really nice, real melodic. There's beautiful guitar parts throughout the whole thing. It's a really good song. So When the War Is Over, yeah, another great track on this record. And the last track, Letters to Alan. All right, this one is kind of funky. It starts off like sort of like a ballad, and then it kind of switches into this kind of almost like a Latin kind of groove with this really interesting guitar figure that is kind of I don't know, it's kind of a weavy thing. He plays this lick and then he changes one note, and almost, I don't know if it's a minor to a major thing. Anyway, it's really cool, and he plays that through the whole thing, and and it's got that kind of, again, that Latin type feel to it, and that's a really pretty good song. Very different, you know. Yeah, just a great track. So to summarize, Cold Chisel, Circus Animals. This is a pretty good album. It's a rock record with a lot of pop elements, but no cheese factor at all. Zero cheese. Cheese free, lactose free. Um, really good. Really good record. Really entertaining. You know, the songs are not all samey. They're all different. Some The singing on this is amazing. As I mentioned, you know, John Fogerty, Dan McCafferty kind of raspiness, you know, but not all that, not all belting. I mean, when he's not belting, there's two singers in here. When they're not belting, they still sound pretty good. Some really nice, sweet guitar playing in this. Nothing flashy on the money, but the main thing is the songs are just really good. They're very different. They're very melodic, and they're very, very catchy. I mean, out of 10 tracks, there's two for me that are kind of like this, but the rest are like either good or really, really good. So I would give this record, I would give it a 4 out of 5. Yeah, if I was to rank it out of 5. Thanks to whoever suggested this, the subscriber that suggested this, appreciate it. If there's another record you'd like me to check out, please throw that in the comments. Have a great rest of your week, and we'll catch you next time. Cheers.